Good evening, ladies and gents. This is the Elbows Down MotoGP podcast. This is the Brazilian Grand Prix preview, the first Brazilian GP in 22 years. I'm joined by Keelin, as always. How are you, mate?
Hola, everybody, and bem-vindo to the first Brazilian Grand Prix race weekend in over 20 years now, which is unbelievable to say. Great to be back, Jim. Great to be back with all the people, and yeah, really looking forward to this. This should be a lot of fun.
I know I keep bigging this race up, because I think that they should win an award for having the best social media team to promote an event I think I've ever seen. Outstanding. I mean, Bruno did really well last year at promoting their comeback. Obviously, Goiania, this track haven't hosted MotoGP. This very track, not Brazilian GP, obviously, Rio had the last one in '04, but obviously this track did host a few GPs in the past. I think it was '92, their last one. And the track has been completely resurfaced, new curbs, new runoff, new pit lane building complex, new grandstands. It looks fantastic. And they've really, really done a great job of promoting it on social media, haven't they, Keelan? I mean, their stories are all over the place with, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. They're giving fans information about how to do this, how to do that, all the time, constant. It's really refreshing. Some track could learn from this, don't you think?
Yeah, they definitely could. And like you rightly said, just to echo what you said, really, whoever the admin and social media people are for the Guyana track deserve much more than whatever it is they're already getting because they have done an unbelievable job of promoting this place. The
Yeah.
posts are colorful, they're vibrant, they're energetic,
Yeah.
they're entertaining, and they're really what they're managing to do, which the best social media people do really well, is they're building such a brilliant atmosphere ahead of the race, and they're building, as is Brazil's right, they're building a real carnival atmosphere for
Yeah.
MotoGP, and that is fantastic to see. And it's just making people like me and you even more excited for what we're sure is
Yeah.
going to be a brilliant weekend. So credit to them; they've done an unbelievable job.
Yeah, I was saying that some people, I can't remember exactly who, but there was definitely people saying, I don't think they're ready. They don't need to just resurface it. They need to make it wider. They need to knock down the pits. A few months, 3, 4 months ago, it looked like they hadn't got the pit lane entrance quite right, like not wide enough, not the right angle. It was looking touch and go. Some people were saying, but I think we were talking a bit too soon. Frankly, looking at it now, they look absolutely stunning. I love the track with the Brazilian colours for the curbs because it really, really, really pops. Um, I think just brilliant. I'm really, really excited. They haven't ruined the track with annoyingly slow chicanes replacing fast corners. That turn one looks exceptional. The second turn, the kink. So you got the long turn one, and then you've got another turn two is like a kink. That was tightened up, and I did mention it on Twitter or X. I think it was because the runoff couldn't be extended anymore. Other than that, the track's more or less the same layout. It's just been completely revamped, and obviously it's gotten us thinking, folks, about crikey, the last Brazilian Grand Prix. What were our memories of this event? And frankly, I was 12 in 2004. I'm 33 now, so I mean, I don't have that many memories myself of poignant moments, of course. And Keelan, I know, wants to talk about one. I want to talk about one though that is a little off piste, I guess. I'll always remember the 2004 event, 2003 event, sorry, when Jorge Lorenzo passed two riders on the outside of turn one during the race, and that's where he got the nickname Porfiura, which of course means on the outside. And that move, go on YouTube, folks, and search Lorenzo overtake around the outside or Lorenzo Rio 2003. What a move that was in a 125 class. I remember that well. So that sticks out for me. What about you, Keelan?
So obviously, with the last Grand Prix being held in Brazil in Rio in 2004, it was a little bit before my time. I was born in '99, so I didn't really have a full memory of MotoGP being in Brazil.
Oh
But
dear.
I know, looking back, I think my favorite moment that I've seen, and obviously, if you people listen to the podcast, you know I'm a die-hard Valentino Rossi fan. So for me, it was probably Rossi winning the 2002 title at the Rio Grand Prix with 4 rounds to spare. Obviously, 2002 was probably one of Rossi's best ever seasons with Honda. And the fact that he was able to win the title with that much time to go just speaks to how brilliant the Honda was and how brilliant Rossi was. And if you go back and look, much like with the Lorenzo moment, if you go and look back at the crowds and the interaction at the end of that race, it shows why we're so
Yeah,
excited that MotoGP
yeah,
is going back to Brazil, because
yeah,
it's such a passionate, just passionate
yeah.
audience. And it's funny enough, I think it was TNT earlier mentioned it. The last rider from Brazil to ever star in a home Grand Prix was Alex Barros
Barros.
22 years ago. And
Yeah.
it's just crazy how much time's gone since then. And obviously, we have
Mm.
Diogo Moreira who's going to break that duct, which is great. But it's so amazing to think it's been over 2 decades since we were in Brazil.
Nuts. Absolutely crazy. And yeah, the passion of Brazilians, I'm so glad it's back. It really does feel now that MotoGP is a true world championship. Brazil has to be a part of a world championship at this level, in my opinion.
For
And
sure.
next year, going back to Argentina with Buenos Aires joining the calendar, revamping another old track that they used to go to. Really will be the cherry on top of the cake. It won't get much better. Well, yeah, we could keep Phillip Island, but we've dissected that already. But it is good that some of these old tracks are being revamped and not being demolished or only just kept for national series. They're getting licks of paint, new buildings, which is really, really, really good and important. And if you see that track in Buenos Aires, it really is. It probably is central in the city. Like Guiana is slightly outside of the city, the track. But no, I mean the Rossi memory that you mentioned, of course, remember that. I mean, winning four races in advance before the end of the year. That was treasure of the 990s. The V5 Honda was, yes, it was leaps ahead. But Valentino still had to ride the thing, still had to beat Ukawa, still had to beat Max on occasion, and that was obviously, well, he's still in his very early 20s. But yeah, I think I recall the celebration with the all in the Brazilian football team colours, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think I had the motorcycle yearbook of 2002, and that was one of the covers, I think, of that. Um, Really pointless information for you folks. Well, not pointless unless you like spending money. I know Ryan does, who is one of the hosts of this podcast. The VR46 team have actually released a clothing merch line for this weekend's Grand Prix. It's basically the team polos, but in the form and colours and layout of the Brazilian football team shirts. So you can have your 49 of Digia if you like, with all the sponsor logos. It just looks just like the team strip. And we got Morbidelli, of course, at 21. I thought that is really, really cool. And I won't be wearing it because I would look ridiculous wearing that. But that is something I don't think any of the team could be able to pull off. And obviously, VR46 have done it, and I'm guessing they'll be on sale there as well. So that's cool if you like that sort of thing, like collecting your merch, which is limited edition merch. But yeah, oh, I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's nice to have as well, folks, if you are from mainland Europe or you're European. Sorry if you're not, folks. We don't care where you're from. We love it
We
wherever you
love
are
you. We
from.
love you all the same.
But it is nice to have, as my old man used to say, or still says, a tea time Grand Prix, so we can enjoy a Grand Prix like early evening, which is quite nice. Not have to get up really, really early in the morning, and it's not slap back in the middle of your day. So in the middle of your day when you're having lunch, which is sometimes nice, but it is nice to sometimes have an evening one, which we obviously get at Austin as well. Again, if you're European. Other than that, we will go to our predictions for this weekend, which are completely out there. Like no one knows what to expect, apart from the fact it looks like quite a busy infield, so Philly might do well. But our predictions are going to be, well, I haven't made any notes, folks. So but I think Keelan's probably going to do the same thing for that. But Keelan, we've had some date changes. This is the main news of our sport this week, and because of everything that's happening in the world around the neck of the woods of Qatar, it's too unsafe, obviously, to have a Grand Prix when it was supposed to be held, which is effectively April. We don't know what's going on there in that part of the world at that time of year. We don't know how long any conflicts will last. So we have Qatar now back again towards the end of the year. We had it, I think, last time at 2024, maybe 2023. We had the Qatar Grand Prix towards the end of the year, didn't we? And Portugal just moved back a bit. It was meant to be the 15th of November, and now Portugal is the 21st of November, which obviously, yeah, that's the only thing that's moved, isn't it? Valencia's already November, back in November. So, what do you feel about the date changes? Do you think we're lucky we're still getting a Qatar race? Were you expecting it to be cancelled entirely? What were your thoughts on that? I'm hoping it stays to even then in November. We don't know, do we?
Yeah, that's actually a very pertinent point to mention. I mean, by November, let's just hope the silliness is actually over with. But yeah, from my point of view, I'm just glad we're getting a Qatar Grand Prix
Yeah.
because Losail is one of my favorite circuits on the calendar. And if you've listened to the show for a while, you know I love a night race, and I think we should have more of them. So the fact that we're getting a Qatar Grand Prix, I'm kind of taking solace in that. I do. I definitely understand the people who are frustrated and upset by having bought tickets and hospitality and accommodation and stuff, and now they're not sure what's going to happen, if that's going to be honored, if they're going to get money back, or however those chips
Yeah,
fall.
good point.
But I will say to those people, and usually when things get moved, I will always be on the people's side. But to be fair, what's going on in the general Middle East at the moment, there's only so much you can do, and Qatar had to be fit in somewhere. And I do think, to be fair to Dorna in disguise, I think they've kind of done the best they could in making it all work
Yeah.
and still keeping Qatar in this year's calendar. So I think they've made the best of a bad situation, and I'm just glad we're still getting Qatar because it's a brilliant race. It's a night race. It's a stunning track, and I'm just hopeful all this nonsense is over by the time we get to November, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So do I. I actually really like that track as well, Qatar. As you say, yeah, as soon as this conflict is over, fingers crossed this year, folks, but we won't go into that. It's not what we're here for. Um, I do like Qatar. I like it's quite fast. It's produced great racing.
It's really
Um,
fast.
I liked it when it was more of a night race weekend. I liked Qatar when the local time was almost, I think it was 11 or 10 p.m. The
Yeah,
MotoGP race start. It was proper jet black outside, and the Moto 3, Moto 2, or 125 and 250 races back in those days were complete night races. Now they're not. They're just twilight races. And the MotoGP is the only night race, really. Just a shame. I understand that, you've got to please TV times and sometimes temperatures and shadows and things like that. Well, I think the shadows thing was more when it rained once. They couldn't do it in the bikes can't race guitar under the lights if it was raining, so they had to postpone it to the Monday one year. I think it was '09 or 2010. But the track layout was really fast. The only thing is, obviously, where it's located, LaSalle, there was only traditionally, until the massive revamp for when Formula One turned up about 3, 4 years ago, and there was only one grandstand. It was the massive one at the start and finish straight. And now you've got ones at the exit of turn one, two, and they're scattered a few various other ones around the track as well. And the new pit lane complex is gigantic now. I remember TNT Sports were there, like, what is this? It's obviously built for Formula One. I think Neil Hodgson was like, but over the top, this, isn't it? But yeah, it's. uh, I nearly did a Burnley accent, but then I didn't. Um, but no, I do like the track. I like it as an opening season opener as well, when the bikes are all gleaming, polished, and shiny, all new liveries, all perfect. That's cool. There is talk. I have heard talk of them coming back to the first round again, but it's just rumors for now. But yeah, I hope we see it this year. And yeah, fingers crossed. That's all we can really say about that, isn't it? Really, truthfully. Look like you're about to say something, there, Keelan.
No, to be honest, I was just gonna say what you said. You know,
Jump
I
in.
just with the way the world is at the moment, I just hope by November we have a Qatar Grand Prix because again, folks, like Jim said, we're not going to go into the geopolitics of it all, but it's such a shame that obviously people's real lives are being affected. It always sucks when the sport you love gets affected as well. Like Formula
Yeah,
One's lost Saudi Arabia and Bahrain,
yeah,
and
yeah,
now we've obviously suffered with Qatar as well. So just
yeah,
hoping things get back to normal soon and everybody gets to live their lives again as normal.
yeah, yeah. And let's hope there is. Let's hope. I mean, in terms of lives, let's hope that we don't. Hope that the world doesn't lose any more, as little as possible, please. And then we can all get on, and then we can worry about seeing those tracks again this year. Um, let's do some predictions, Keelan, because other than the fact that a lot of websites decide to regurgitate old news or make up rumors or confirm things like we already know, like so and so is hoping for a good weekend. No shit. That's not news. And that's not that's not really a talking point. So predictions wise, kiddo, this would be interesting because we could be all over the place here. It's not really a power circuit, is it? By the looks of it, apart from the fact you have got quite a long home straight, Keelan.
Yeah, that's very true. If you look at the layout of Guyana, Ayrton Senna to give it its sort of semi-full title, it's not a Catalunya or a Mugello where you're really going to be able to give it full chap, so to speak. So it definitely brings more manufacturers into play here in terms of who could be on the podium and potentially who even could win, which makes us again very interesting. And of course, the main X factor is nobody's raced on this track before, so nobody has an advantage over the other. No bike has an advantage over the other. And like you said, we could really, I mean, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say Yamaha's going to win, but you really could predict anybody you wanted and you would be justified. That being said, I think I'm gonna back Marco Bezzecchi this weekend. I think he's looked seriously quick this season already. I think the Aprilia is arguably the best package on the grid. And I just think Marco Bezzecchi looks so in unison with the bike and the package that Aprilia have given him that I think he could be a very, very serious title contender this year. So I think Bezzecchi in the sprint, maybe and the main race. And then I definitely think Pedro Acosta could have something to say because I think the start he's had's been very, very solid.
For
And then I think it's probably going to be Acosta and Marquez, some combination of those two joining Bezzecchi on the podiums.
yeah, I can't. Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said. Marquez will always have something to play here. It's obviously going to be cooler conditions, folks. It's not going to be a chilly Grand Prix like Silverstone in May or anything like that, as they were last year. But it's still going to be hot. But it is going to be easier on Mark's injuries. So since Keelan's decided to evade Moto2, Moto3, which I will bully him for in a second, I will say MotoGP. I'll go with MotoGP as well, and I'll say that Bez will win the sprint, Mark will be second, and Pedro will be third, and Mark will just beat Bez with a win. Am I just doing that to be different? Because I don't know if I believe that. Because I do think that infield is really a pretty shooting,
It
honestly.
is.
And this is not a left-handed track. So in the circumstance, I'm going to say Bez will actually win the main race as well, but Mark will be second. I can't say Pedro third again, can I? You can't have the same podiums.
Jim,
No.
you can say whatever you want to.
Okay. How boring is that, folks? I'm going for the same podium as the sprint. So no, no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm going for Bez. Will win. Bez will win the sprint. Mark will be second. Pedro will be third, and Mark will win the main race. He will just beat Bez in my head. He will, and Pedro will pick up another third. This is obviously barring tire pressure rules and crashes and whatnot, because a new track we don't know. There might be a bump that no one knows about. There might be all sorts of, which is exciting. That's why I
I'll
can't wait.
tell you what though, Jim, how special would it be if Diogo Moreira got a home podium?
Yeah,
How good would that be?
I wanted to play it down, obviously, but obviously this is a new track to everyone in this current paddock. So, and Diogo has every chance of being the top Honda at least. Going in, if there's a lot of learning he still needs to do with the MotoGP bike, but when it's a new track, who knows? It could be further back than Thailand. It could be further forward. It's up in the air. So, no, yeah, I don't think he'll enter any podiums, but if he got into top 10, I think that'd be brilliant. I mean, it'd be a dream if he got a top five. I think even the Brazilian crowd would think that's more than enough. Way more than enough. That'd be massively over their expectations. I think for Diogo. I mean, obviously Franco is half Brazilian, isn't he? As well, Franco
Yeah, he
Morbidelli.
is. You're right.
So, I mean, Franco has probably got a good chance to show up that the half home crowd he has, which still embrace that as his is one of their own this weekend anyway. And he's on a competitive bike, so we'll see what Franco could do. That'd be good if Franco could get on the podium. I think that'd be lovely for the Brazilian fans. Um, what are your thoughts on the other classes? Are you gonna risk
Yeah,
that one? Well, you are. I'm
yeah.
telling you,
No,
you are.
yeah. You are doing. Yeah,
You are predicting those races. Yeah.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Moto 3, I don't have a snowball's chance in hell of guessing who's gonna be on that podium because it could literally be any one of about 10, 15 riders in combination. The one prediction I will make for Moto 3, solely for patriotic reasons, is that Casey O'Gorman gets a podium for the Siege squad. Want to see that
I
happen. I've
can't
got to
believe you
see.
said that because I was going to
I
friggin' say that.
forgot.
Oh, yeah, fair
I,
play. You
I
got there
got.
first.
I gotta see my home. I gotta see my home nation on the podium in Brazil. I know that makes no sense to anybody, but I
I was
just
going to
have to
say.
see it. I gotta see it one time, you know. And I think with it being such an
Yeah.
X Factor track, I think anybody can really do anything. And I think with
Yeah.
how solid Casey O'Gorman's been, I think he's got as good a chance as anyone. So solely for emotional reasons, I'm gonna guess Casey O'Gorman for Moto 3 on the podium, and then Moto 2. This is where this gets really interesting because again it's such a closely knit field. It's so tight to really sort of properly guess. But I'm gonna try and take a stab at it anyway because of course we kind of have to. I don't know the order, but I'm gonna say Colin Vire gets a podium. I think Aaron
Yeah.
Canet gets a podium. And I also think, who do I think rounds out that podium? God, this is tough. I think Manu Gonzalez rounds out the podium. So Gonzalez, Vire, and God, who was my other pick again? I've completely blanked.
Didn't you say can it?
Yeah, Canet. You're absolutely right. So Aaron
Yeah.
Canet, Manu Gonzalez, and Colin Vire. That's my
Yeah.
podium for Moto 2.
Interesting. Yeah. They're all in fairly good form. Um, yeah, because yeah, Moto 2 track like that again. That's a lottery as much as it is for Moto 3, which predict now. Um, I think we could see a shock victory potentially for someone like Veda Patama, Max Keeles, P2, and yeah, so Veda Patama was already second. Hmm. Yeah, I will come back to that. Moto 2. I can see four-man Guevara being really hard to pick. I think Guevara will win the race, you know. Seriously. I think Guevara win the race, not by a country mile, because a track like that, and unless someone just clicks way better than everyone else, then you might see some runaway winners, but I doubt it at a track like this, but I could be proved wrong.
Yeah.
Guevara for the win. Um, I think you could see someone like, yeah, I'll go for Balta second.
Ooh, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because Barry's a new track, and Barry's really, really naturally gifted. Yeah, the shot in the dark there. And Senna Aegis, I'll go third. Experience like Gonzalez will probably come and knock that to smithereens and win the race, but there we go. Yeah. Almansa in Moto 3. Yeah, I think after his win, I think he'll be on a bit of a high, and it's been a long time coming for Almansa. So I think Almansa will finish the podium in Moto 3. Um, Scott Ogden will be the real winner because he'll come and beat everyone, and I'll be wrong, of course, and he'll win the race. Actually, I really would love to see Scott Ogden win a race again. You never know. Who knows, folks? He might be on the podium this weekend. But yeah, you took the Casey Gorman prediction out of my mind, but I think he looks really good. And why not? I can't wait to see some practice sessions live in the evening with a beer in my hand. Lovely. So yeah, we'll look forward to that, folks. We'll probably. I tell you what, might play that back in the week or Saturday night and see how far wrong we are and who was actually randomly really close to that.
We are either going to look like complete geniuses or complete idiots, and there is no in between.
Yeah, if we actually, to be fair, that we completely made that up, folks. I normally have a bit of an idea, but I thought it'd be fun for a change to just fire by the hip. I normally have a little inkling in my head, but that was completely by the hip. Uh, so that's the predictions done for this weekend, folks. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There's not much else to talk about until, well, apart from the race weekend review, we'll talk all about that and any news later. In terms of the silly season, folks, again, we don't know about any agreements with Concord agreements in terms of confirmation, and there's nothing that Marquez has done yet. So that means everyone else has to wait anyway. Anything else you hear? I actually heard about Bastianini going to Yamaha today. Briefly saw it. No idea where that source is coming from. So just be careful what you read, folks. Not sure where Bastianini would go, where Martin would go if Bastianini goes to Yamaha. Then yeah, Fabio, if Fabio's even Rins are leaving, who knows? Who knows? It could happen. So we can look up some more juicy stuff next week if there's been murmurings as they all get back together in the paddock at Goiania this weekend. So we'll have to wait on the silly season, folks, sadly. But I think we've covered everything we can, haven't we, this week, mate?
Yeah, as far as I could think, yeah,
Yeah.
we've covered Qatar, we've covered our favorite memories from Brazil, who we
Yeah.
think may or may not win it. Yeah, I think that's
I
pretty
don't
much everything.
That's pretty much all you're gonna get out of us this week, folks. But yeah, obviously we'll have a review next week, whether it be Keelin, Alex, or Ryan joining. Thanks as always, Keelin.
Jim, absolute pleasure as always. It was really great to look forward to Brazil here.
Yeah, I cannot wait actually for this weekend. So thanks for tuning in, folks, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.